BioWare's online loot shooter Anthem seems to be suffering from crash issues that knock players' entire console out of commission, at least according to numerous reports on Reddit and its own website. It's a fairly severe issue in a high-profile game like BioWare's latest, and one that unfortunately comes during an already turbulent launch period. Some of the crashes reported are hitting systems harder than those that close a game with an error message. A handful of Anthem players say that their PS4 will shut down completely as if someone unplugged the system and displayed an improper shutdown when it boots back up. According to Kotaku, at least one player that reached out to the publication said an Anthem crash fully bricked their PS4 system. A handful of public posts have recorded similar issues since the game's launch. One from a week ago, on its bug reporting site, says that closing the game on PS4 caused their system to suddenly shut down months and that the console was unresponsive to attempts to power it back on until they physically disconnected and reconnected its power source. Other forum users echoed this in the replies, and the post is not the only one out there by any means. While Anthem's official channels have not directly addressed this specific issue quite yet, the game's community team has urged players experiencing issues to reach out and file a ticket on its bug reporting forum. Everything that has been reported is being tracked, and the team is working on fixing issues as quickly as possible, tweeted Global CMJ Stacy Anderson. Some issues will be addressed faster than others with hot fixes. Others require a client update which take longer to get ready. Netflix released Bandersnatch, its special Choose Your Own Adventure episode of Black Mirror a few weeks ago, and it has recently come to light that the interactive experience WASLOBCLY inspired by an actual video game of the same name. Chris Scullion of Tired Old Hack wrote up the rise and fall behind Bandersnatch, beginning by introducing the Liverpool-based development studio behind the endeavor, Imagine Software, comprised of Mark Butler, David Lawson, and Eugene Evans. The trio quickly gained a reputation for making quality games, including Arcadia, Zoom and Alchemist. Their success fostered the drive to create something bigger. So in early 1984, Imagine began placing teaser advertisements in magazines like KCVG, Crash, and Sinclair User for Chulu games. The first one, Titlaps Eclipse, was being developed for the Commodore 64. The second game, Bandersnatch, was slated to be released for the ZX Spectrum. Scullion writes how the series of As became stranger and stranger over time, with its phrasing in an attempt to get players excited for the release. But they eventually died down to nothing but subtle ads showing logos. According to Scullion, readers still had no idea what kind of game to expect once the momentum died down. What kind of game was Bandersnatch? It was supposed to be an adventure game set in a futuristic city made up of old buildings, where the player took control of a character named Val, the retired officer of the intergalactic police. Its central mechanic, which was considered revolutionary at the time, would have players interacting with its various residents using the speech bubble system. According to Scullion, these thoughts would appear in bubbles and players could carry them out by pressing the fire button. However, a concept this detailed was going to be hard to fit onto the ZX Spectrum, especially since a Bandersnatch was considered a metagame. Games that would not usually be possible on the computers they were designed for. This was just one of the many issues which caused a downward spiral for Imagine, and the entire piece goes into more detail about the cancellation of Bandersnatch. so be sure to read it here. It's well worth it. In 2018, I experienced one of my biggest shifts in video gaming behavior over the past decade. Overall, the industry is going through some interesting changes with the introduction of Epic and Discord's game marketplaces, and an explosion of games available on Steam and no storefronts. Personally, it was a big change of me, because I moved in with my fiancé, got married, and overall had less time for my old gaming habits. Instead of playing mostly new games, I have played a mix of new and old games over the past year. Here are some of the trends in my gameplay habits that I noticed in 2018. I started working for Zynga in June, and shortly before then I started exploring mobile games, such as Words with Friends 2. My commute also changed over the past year, and I have more time commuting on the train that I can now spend playing games. One of the genres that I have kept on my phone throughout the year is match-3 titles, including Crazy Cake Swamp, Wonka's World of Candy, and Candy Crush Friends Saga. This is the first year that I really got into mobile gaming, and I have even started playing some of these games outside of my commute. Another trend in my gaming habits that I have noticed in the past year is playing games on easier modes. Since I have less time to play games, I want to get through games quicker, rather than constantly replaying sections of a game. I found myself setting the difficulty level on Wolfenstein 2 to easy mode, so that I could make progress through the game more quickly. I still enjoy challenge in games, but like the ability to take shortcuts to progress the story. Procedural content generation, POP, has already seen huge success, with level generation in Minecraft, and weapon creation in Borderlands. But this year was the first time that I experienced a game using POP for creating high-fidelity 3D levels. I started playing the Descenders game preview on X1, and really enjoyed the feel of the generated levels, while the early game levels became repetitive after a bit. The later zones in the game added enough terrain configurations to keep the levels diverse and interesting. I'd also tried out some new genres of games this year, including Gone Home. This game has been out for a while, but I finally took the time to play it after downloading it when it was offered through Xlive. I enjoyed the pace of the game and the focus on narrative, and it aligned well with my focus on more casual gameplay experiences. As mentioned with Gone Home, I have purchased fewer games directly over the past year, and have taken advantage of more of the games available through Xlive and PS Plus. One of my favorites that I replayed this year was Schools of the Shogun, where I played through the DLC content for the first time. Over the past year, I have kept my number of gaming subscriptions steady, while decreasing my number of video streaming subscriptions. These been exploring subscription services for a few years, with the Access and Origin Access, and X Game Pass is shaping up to be a great service as well. I have also been replaying some of favorite games over the past year. Remastered editions, such as Dark Souls, provided a great nudge to encourage me to revisit these classic titles. Between remastered titles, X-backwards compatibility, and classic console releases, there's several options for going back and enjoying older games. This is a trend in my gameplay habits. It logged about back in 2015, and it's been great seeing more availability of classic titles. Ben Weber is the principal data scientist at Zynga. With rehiring, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate surpassed 3 million sales in the U.S. during its first 11 days on shelves, according to Nintendo's own internal sales data. That makes Ultimate the fastest-selling Switch game of all time in the States, and also the fastest-selling title in the Super Smash Bros. Franchise. The massive brawler has been performing well in other regions as well, having sold 1.23 million copies in Japan during its launch weekend, another record for the series. Meanwhile, Nintendo also revealed the Switch has been the fastest-selling current-gen console in the U.S. for the past 21 months, having sold more than 8.7 million units in that time. Those hardware sales, however, do not account for the launch of Ultimate, which Nintendo claims will give the Switch extra impetus as the holidays continue. Future Grind, the development cyberpunk grinding game, launched earlier this week on the Nintendo Switch, PS4 and PC. But while it's a challenging arcade experience that rewards skilled players who want to break down its puzzles, it's also an indie game with ground-up accessibility features that stand out from the pack. To discuss the making of Future Grind, game designer Owen Goss dropped by the DD Twitch channel earlier today for a chat about the game's inception, its long development process, and the accessibility features that let more people enjoy it and collaborator metrics spend so much time on. For your convenience, you can now watch the full conversation with Goss in the video above. If you are interested in more game developer insight, do not wait.